last where we left off, we talked about the camera and how it's, you know, if you don't have a camera, let's disable that and hit play. It just keeps your view fixed on whatever is oh, let's get out my controller too. It'll keep your view fixed on whatever the default is, right? Okay, so here's your character. If we leave, oh, we're never going to find our way back. It doesn't follow our character, right? So if we stop that, then turn on the camera, and we'll see, like, wherever we put this camera, let's go and grab the movement. You can slide it around, and like, if we put it right here, our character is going to start at the bottom of the screen. Hit play. Gotta keep them rolling to feel. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the algorithm, but yeah, I just don't want, you know, if anyone is following along, they don't want to go 2 full weeks with nothing, you know. Robert, welcome. Chase, welcome. So that's a little thing, demo there. Now, if we go and put the camera as a child of the player, just grab it and drag it up there. Now we center it here. If we go into like the camera transform, you'll see position, just hit that reset button. Now we see a new thing. The camera is centered on the player at all times. And this isn't going to be too obvious yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag another icon in to be our ground. And I'm going to change the scale of it. Let's go to the scaling tool up here. Make it really wide, right? We can tell in relation to our player, where is the ground? It's going to be lined up right with that collider we put in last time. Just for a little demo. So we can tell that our camera is actually moving with the player. So it's a child of the player. And we have it centered on the player. So position is 0, 0 as a child of the player. So let's hit play now. And you can see, oh, all right, we kind of got like a helicopter taking off and landing. Trying to like hold my controller up so you can see I'm actually using it. And I think we want to do maybe some stuff with colliders. What do we want to do next? Weapons, colliders, levels. What do you feel like we need next? What's the next appropriate thing? I've got some ideas, but do I remember if you had a streak in the morning? I don't know, Bobbert. I don't think so. But we would like to see what is the next feature of our game. One of the main things for Chopper Lift is like picking up people that need to be evacuated from the war zone, right? Colliders, weapons, levels. All right, I was thinking we've got some colliders in, right? So this hitting the ground there. Levels would be like a big collection of colliders. Weapons sounds fun though, so I think you're onto that. Sprite sheets versus single files. Okay, cool. Skyfire, welcome. So in your player, you've got what we called icon. We changed the texture. I actually am kind of sprite, animated sprite. Right now we have a sprite 2D. I'm a little fuzzy on this, but I think if we had a sprite sheet, we would use an animated sprite, and then we could pick out the frames. So maybe we do that first then, and then we'll go on to weapons, just because you don't want to shoot weapons out of this Godot square. You want an actual helicopter, right? So let's go and add a child and call pick the animated sprite one. So we've got our player, the animated sprite, and it's got a little warning. A sprite frames resource must be created or set in the sprite frames property in order for animated sprite 2D to display frames. Okay, so sprite frames right here. Let's see if we click that. Not seeing any. Let's see, what kind of file does a sprite frames need to be? I'm a little fuzzy on this. I've never used it. I usually have like rolled my own. So let's figure it out together. So we go to Godot docs. So Godot docs 4.7. If we say sprite frames, the first one here, let's click on it. Sprite frame library for animated sprite 2D and animated sprite 3D. Okay, sprite frame library, yep. Contains frames and animation data. Good. Here, get animation loop. These are all the methods that you can call, right? So if you want to add an animation, you could call this add a frame, clear all, duplicate animation. So I think we need to... I was hoping to get more information on like how to create one of these, right? But it might be like a new resource. If we go like maybe down here, new resource, right, frames, here we go. Okay, so this is what I did. In the bottom left, add dang pause into the game, or add pause into the game, maybe. Maybe, I don't know what it would be for, but maybe the pause menu, that's what you get. That'd be cool. So in the bottom left file system, right click and say new resource. Then you've got the search bar, just like when you're adding a node in the scene. In the file system, we're going to add a new resource, and we're going to find the one called sprite frames, and double click that. Now we can say, let's just call it helicopter underscore frames, helicopter frames. Save it. And now when we click on it, we've got this tab down here, right? It says sprite frames, right? So if you're not, does it always show now that we've made it? I think it does. Oh wait, no it doesn't. Okay, depending on what you click, there we go. So when you double click on it, you get this new tab along the bottom. It's called sprite frames. And I bet what we want to do is add a file. Let's click this plus button, new animation. Let's just use the default one for now. So I'm going to delete that with the trash button there. There we go. Animation frames, add frames from sprite sheet. There we go. So under animation frames here, add frame from file, add frames from sprite sheet. So first let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back, and just so we know what we're doing here, let's go and take this helicopter. And actually first I'm gonna change my sprite sheet into a size that my helicopter fits in a frame. So here we've got 16 by 16. We want to change it to 32 by 32 to make my helicopter fit nicely. So let's go, what is it? View grid settings in Sprite. You can use any image editing program you want, but I like Sprite. That's what I've been using for a while. So I just changed width and height to 32. Hit OK there. Now when I click, you see it highlights. I double click a box, it highlights the entire frame there. I'm just going to position, let's see, do we want them centered or at the bottom middle? I think you kind of want them at the bottom middle. All right, so I'm going to make this super simple to start. And I'm just going to copy that frame into the next one. And we want some kind of indication that the blades are flickering or something. I don't know how to do this in such a simple sprite, but let's figure it out. Cedar, good evening. How are you? Welcome in. Well, what are these correct? Still 8. Yeah, so our blades are 8 wide. So what if we like just shortened it? Would it go? I don't know. I feel like that's gonna look really hokey. In Sprite, we could do a quick animation. Alt, what is it? Right click, new frame. If I hit play here, Oh wait, no, that's not how it works. Delete that. Alright, this isn't an A-Sprite tutorial, so now let's just go, I've got my 2 frames there, so I'm gonna go File, Export, and export a sprite sheet. I wonder exactly what that does. I don't think we need to do that. Let's just go File, Export As. I'm gonna put it as a PNG in the same folder. So it's just called spritesheet.png. I'm hitting export. Toots, welcome in. Yes, overwrite the existing file. You'll see it reloads there. Now here, when we go add frame from sprite sheet, I'm gonna pull in spritesheet.png. There we go. And so it's got this file reader here. Really horizontal 2, vertical 1, size 32 by 32. You see now it fits my helicopter that I made. You can tell it the size. I guess we're fine with this because it's not gonna automatically use them all, I think, unless we. What does auto slice do? Oh, that didn't work. Undo? Oh no, I can't undo it. Oh no. Alright, so let's go size 32 by 32. That's all that matters. You just want that to match your grid, right? So frame order as selected. Let's say we can highlight frames. Okay. So you can drag along and you're adding frames to an animation. That's really messy. Select none. We're going to clear that. Now all we want to do is click left and right. There we go. We got frame 0, frame 1. We're going to say add 2 frames down at the bottom here. Cool. So now we have a sprite with 2 little frames. And let's hit save on that. And now remember this animated sprite 2D that we just added to our player? It was asking for sprite frames. Now if we click in this box and say quick load, it should find that 2 frames. That's all you need. There it is. So it's finding helicopter frames.tres. And now it's got it. And so what I'm going to do is delete that original icon, the original sprite, the SVG file, right? Deleting it. We don't need it. Now look, my helicopter is way tiny. And I think that's because of our import settings on our sprite sheet. And it's also kind of blurry, which is definitely because of our import settings. So if we go texture 2D, let's see, mode lossless. That lossless was what we wanted. We click on our sprite sheet down in our file system, then go up to import. That's what I'm looking at now. Alt, press to VRAM uncompressed. Re-import? Nope, nope. Lossy, lossless. Generate bitmaps, roughness, detect. Sorry, you do this once and then you forget about it forever. As you can see, I've forgotten about it. Compress to disabled, maybe? Oh, that's for detect 3D. Time to Google. Godot. Blurry pixel sprites. Dark Monk, good evening. No, we're actually in tutorial mode. Tutorial. Yeah, I'm trying to make it not blurry Deshango, and I forget which options to pick for that. Flags texture filter set to nearest. That is what I'm looking for. Emily, good evening. Yeah, so we're making a tutorial for Godot. This is episode 2. And we're gonna make a game called Chopper Lift, which is like an old Commodore game called Choplifter that I used to play as a kid. And I always thought it'd be fun to remake this game. Look at how good their chopper propellers are. I think I'm getting the idea of what it should look like. So maybe we'll spend a little more time on that once we get it working. Project settings under rendering. Thank you. Okay, let's try that. Project settings. Rendering. Textures maybe? Linear nearest. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Des. Yeah, so you go rendering and then textures. You weren't wrong. It is rendering, but it's also textures. So if you, let's do that again. So if you go project settings, in the search bar at the top, you can type render to find this heading, rendering, right? You wanna drop that down and go to textures and hit nearest. It's on linear. You want it to be nearest. Hit close, hit save. But look how crisp our helicopter is now. Much more crisp. And you'll see that our collider is much bigger. I don't think I want to mess with, there we go, the size of it. I think it's probably easier to not scale our sprite and just kind of readjust everything for a tiny helicopter. And we'll draw everything in scale to the helicopter, right? So if we go to back to our collision shape, we got our player. It's got a new animated sprite now. It's got the camera attached, and we've got our collision shape, right? We want to shrink that down to about the size of the helicopter. Grab our select node up at the top, or our select tool, select mode. You can shrink that down into what you feel. Uh-oh. Lost it. What did I click on? What you feel fits your helicopter. Like, do you want everything to be in collision? You should definitely line it up with the bottom so it sits on a ground, right? Which Flora, good evening. Square my pixels. Square my pixel up. And so I think I'm just gonna, like, do you want the tail to collide? That's up to you. I think I'm gonna just do the body. Maybe not even the propellers. Maybe the little of the propellers. Something like that. And I'm gonna hit save. Des. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. And thanks for the tip. So now let's look at it. Like, we're gonna see our helicopter pretty tiny because you see this purple box, remember? That's the size of our camera. So maybe we mess with it, maybe we don't. Let's see. I also kind of want to make this. Let's go to this icon sprite. Can we just like wash it out so we don't have to see the texture? Let's see, visible, modulate. Ordering texture, material, empty. Not simply. I don't want to get into the weeds on that. So we'll wait. Maybe we could make it black though. Yes. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Little hack. Follow with me if you want. I don't want to see that Godot logo stretched out as the ground. I'm going to click on that icon, then go over here and go to modulate, and I'm just turning it, this brightness, all the way to black. It's usually all the way up. Blue skies, we could do a blue sky, but for now we're just turning the ground black. That's probably another project setting. You want to change the background color, so if you go project settings, there's probably like a default background. GUI, rendering device. Not sure what it would be under, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. Display window. Wombo, welcome in, first time chatter. Appreciate you. Sky debug, compression, rendering. 2D maybe? No. You know, I can think of how to do it in Unity. It's usually a camera component in Unity. What if we do that? Camera. Limit. Yeah, don't see it too obviously here. So I'm not going to mess with the background color yet. Let's just hit play again now that we've got our new collider on our new sprite. We should be seeing some I was hoping we'd be seeing some animation playing, but not yet, I guess. Oh my, am I out of batteries here, or is it just sitting for too long? There we go. All right, we're flying now. Got a tiny little helicopter. Oh, we missed the collider there. Wait, you can see where we're going with this. You know what? We probably want to make our helicopter a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do, we click on our player. Do I really want to scale up the whole player? Not really. We could also go to the animation sprite 2D and just scale that. Oh wait, that's speed scale. Or we could zoom the camera. And I think that's our best bet, right? So zoom. Right now we're at 1 by 1. Like if we just shrink this by increasing the zoom on our camera. So go to your camera that's on your player. I think 1.5 is maybe a good start. 1.5 by 1.5. So click on the camera, go to zoom. 1.5, 1.5, hit save, and let's hit play again. See what it looks like. Add some pick 3, we could. And that's a little better, but maybe even more. Maybe we go up to 3. And the nice thing is if you go over to remote here, then you can see your whole scene. Click on main, there's your player. Open that up, click on your camera, and we can actually just mess with it live. So let's drag it up until we like the size of our helicopter. Now maybe we actually want to be more like a 4 or a 5. 5 looks kind of good. 1.5 view? 1.5 was pretty small. Let's go with 5 for now. I'm going to save that. Let's restart. Oops, you know what? It doesn't save. You have to edit in the scene. I edited it in the game. It doesn't save. You got to stop the game, then make that same edit. 5 by 5. There we go. That's our new helicopter. I'm going to move the whole player. Click on the player. Move him down so he starts on the ground. Right down there. Perfect. Oops. When we save that, let's hit play now. Okay, and now he just moves super fast because he's tiny compared to what he used to be, right? Wow, that's out of control. So we can go back to our script and mess with those speeds. Maybe we'll reduce the speed by half. So what we'll do, we'll click on our player script. So there's our player. There's a little script we attached last episode. Double click on that to open your editor. And we've got the speed variable set to 1200. Let's go down to like maybe less than half. Maybe we'll try 400. If you want to make that as easy to manage, we could make it an exported variable. So let's do that real quick. Right above your variable, add new line, put a pair of brackets, square brackets, and say export, and then make it public. And then since it's public, we're going to capitalize speed as an indicator that it is public. And now that'll break this relation down here. You see that lowercase speed no longer exists. It has to be capital speed. Export a member player speed. Oh, is speed already? I'm sorry, it is. We can't use speed here. We could say, yeah, speed's already a property. We could say force, because really it's a force that we apply. It's a force and a vector. So we could say force. Is that taken? And so down here, instead of speed, we're going to say force with a capital F. Oh, let's make that bigger too for all. Oh, there we go. So, oh no, is that also? It also has force. We could say input force. That's not taken. Surely that's not taken. So export public. Oh, because I made it a constant. I'm sorry. That's why. Let's go back to force. Is that why? Public float. I had a constant there which made it static. Let's say public float force equals 400. Then scroll down to here. Make sure your velocity is velocity normalized times force. Okay. Maybe a dumb question, but why not scale the player up instead of zoom the cam? Because then we need to manage the scale. It's a good question. It's not a dumb question. Then we need to manage the scale of every object we create. And instead, I'd rather just drop my pictures in, draw them all in relation to each other here. You know, say if I'm making a little guy, you know, I want to just make sure he's a good size compared to the helicopter. Right, like that. You know, say he's big compared to a helicopter, but it's gonna work. And instead of having to zoom him the same as the helicopter, then say maybe I change my mind in the future. It's like, actually, I want the helicopter to be 3x. Then I got to find every asset and scale those as well. So I think the proper way to do it is by the camera and then leave everything the size it is when it comes in. You're gonna say no, you should have, and you were right. So I'm gonna re-export that. Well, do I have to? No, I drew a little guy, but I don't need to re-export it yet. All right. So now what we did, let's build it again by hitting this little hammer up in the top right. It says build project. So use the same sheet for all sprites. You can, Dawn of the Dan. And we'll get to that. I expect not a whole lot of sprites in this game, and so they could all fit on a decent sized sheet without being too big or too complicated. And then we've got this nice sprite sheet frame manager to help us out with that too. So I think for now they're all going to be on the same sprite sheet. Keeps it real clean, nice and tidy. We got helicopters, we got people, fighter jets, tanks, whatever else we want to add. Okay, so here we go. We got our helicopter. What was I doing next? All right, I hit build, right? A little hammer in the top right. Then go back to your player. You're gonna see this force at the top. This is a new property because we exported here. Export public float force to be 400. Now we can see it in game in the editor right there. So that tells you, Godot. That tells Godot, I want to show this in the editor. So the nice part about that is we can play around with our new speed. Oh, that feels pretty good. Well, a little fast. Oh, all right. It's still a bit fast, but also it's hard to tell because we don't have a lot to compare the terrain to, like. And I'm lost. Let me just restart it. But what we can do is go to remote again, then click on player, and you'll see that force variable right there, and we can drag it down. While we're playing the game, we can change it and say 200. Oh, okay, that's a little better. Let's go to the edge and see how fast it flies by. Okay, that's better. And I think the way we're applying force, there shouldn't be a Oh my, I'm lost again. We might need a little bit bigger camera. We'll see. We'll get there though. It's not time for that yet. Okay, so we've got, I think I like 200 for now. So I'm going to stop that, and then click on our player one more time and change that 400 to a 200. And because I'm very particular, I want to go into the code. I want to change that back to a 200 too. So just so, like, you know, anything happens, we like this 200 better. Doc! On the big screen looking fresh. Thank you. Welcome in, Doc. Goal for learning today, we were talking what? Weapons and animations. Weapons and animations. So probably animations first, just to get the simple concept down, and then weapons. That can mean a lot of things. I think I'm going to start with like maybe just a very simple shoot weapon, shoot gun weapon thing. All right, so here we go. We've got that guy there, and we notice it's not animating though, do we? Don't we? But we made that. If we hit play here, stop play. There we go. There we go. So I hit play here and it works. But why isn't playing? It's not playing by default. I think we might have to tell it to play by default. So if I hit play, just out of curiosity, nothing. Okay. So let's go back to our player script, and I betcha we need to reference this animated sprite and tell it what to do. So if we go here, let's make a little reference to it. We're gonna make a couple new lines here. We're gonna go private animated sprite 2D. We'll call it sprite 2D. That's our only sprite. And then in the ready, we're gonna, let's get rid of that. We know player is ready. Let's do this. Sprite 2D equals I'm sorry, is it find or is it get? I think it's get node. Yes, get node. We give it a type, animated sprite 2D, and a path. This path is relative to its parent in the scene. So the parent is the player sprite, right? Or sorry, the player object. This player, and it's just the very first animated sprite 2D. So we can put in quotes here, animated sprite 2D. So it's going to look for the first object of type animated sprite 2D at this path. So it's kind of like, here's our parent directory player, and it's going to look at its first children for animated sprite 2D of type animated sprite 2D. If it had a children called, like, I don't know, gun, which had a child called bullet, that's how you'd find it, with extra slashes, but we don't have anything there yet. So we're just finding this at the root level, and we're setting it to our animated sprite 2D. We're calling it sprite 2D. And now that we find it, we're going to say sprite 2D, and I don't know what the method is. Animation autoplay. What's this? The key of the animation to play when the scene loads. Okay, we could do that. We could set that to, I think it's default. So if we look here at our helicopter frames, we have this default animation was just called default, just like that. So I assume, like, unless there's some kind of autoplay button we could be using. Doesn't look like it. I assume if we set this value, autoplay, it'll play default if it has it. Let's hit play here and see what happens. Nothing. Okay, back to the docs. When in doubt, you go back to the docs. Sprite frames, we want animation player 2D. Oh wait, sorry, animated sprite. Animated sprite 2D. There we go, animated sprite 2D. Let's click that. Here's our tutorial. This is what I was looking for. The sprite animation, 2D sprite animation. Dodge the creeps demo, some nice tutorials built in there. What really I'm looking for is this right here, this dot play. But I do want to read about autoplay now. I'm kind of interested. Here's autoplay. Its default value is blank, right? So the key of the animation to play when the scene loads. I would expect that if we just set that value that it would play. But I think we'll just force it, huh? Just to be safe. With that play. So let's go sprite2d.play. Oh, actually, yeah, that should work. And then we go name is null. We'll say default. Custom speed. So these are name is null is like, I wonder if if we don't give it anything, would it default to default? I'm just wondering why it gives us default and why that's not working. There we go. All right, so we got our helicopter. The props are running. You know, you can see they're definitely, the chopper is chopping is what I'm trying to say. Sound good? Hold on, my Discord is blowing up, so I gotta mute that. I don't know if you guys can hear all that blinging. There we go. Go back to the code. Yes. Yeah. So now that we know that's going to work, let's talk about the code. So the first thing we do here is we find the node animated sprite 2D. We're saying it should be of type animated sprite 2D, and it should be at the location animated sprite 2D. So we're setting it to this variable, and now that we have it set to that variable, we say .play. Now play can take some parameters if you want. See all these that pop up? It shows you defaults though. You don't have to give it anything because it has defaults. Name equals null, custom speed equals 1, bool from end is false. I didn't give it anything and it started working, which means if you don't give it anything, it probably finds your default animation and plays it. And that's all we had to do to get that little animation going. Is yours playing down at the den? If not, some things to check might be... it is. It looks like it's flapping. Nice. All right. And we'll have to like rethink animating. This isn't a course on animating. I do like the little references. If you got to do art, get references. That's my biggest and #1 tip. Like, if we can do this, if we looked at this, I bet you I could make it way better just by studying this picture. Like, here we go. Playback speed. Let's go down. Bring it way down to 0.25 and watch what this helicopter does. So you can see the rotors look like they're moving, and just kind of by going, it's like left, right, both, left, right, both. It's like 3 frames. So if we try to duplicate that, we would do something like this. I'm gonna make one more frame here, and then so this would be the both frame, and then let's make this full length, and this one like almost gone. So that's the left, and then basically we take that and we'll like flip it over here. Basically, that, and I'm just gonna put what, two pixels on that side, and that should be about the same as the other side. Oops, it's one short. Or was it too short? Anyway, I had them as 8 pixels from the, not including the middle of the rotor. That's 8. That's 8. Okay, perfect. So to be just like Choplifter, can't remember the name of the game. Left, full, right. Oh, should I switch these? Maybe you're right. Should it be left, full, right, full? Ping pong me? I could ping pong it, but we're gonna keep it simple. Do we have a public GitHub? Ugh, I should do that, Cedar. Yeah, I could make one, definitely. Let's watch it one more time. As I said, I didn't want to get into the weeds here, but I don't know. It's like right, left, full. It doesn't ping pong. So I'm going to start with this file. I'm going to export mine again there. Export it. Yes. Overwrite it. Re-import it. And you'll see it broke my animation there. Because it still only has 2 frames. So let's open that. And then pick... whoops. Add frames from sprite sheet. There we go. Sprite sheet PNG. Oops. Clear that one. So I've got 0, 1, and 2. Right there. Add 3 frames. Oh no. So it added more to the existing one. So I'm going to delete those first 2. So we've got full, left, right. Just like in my sprite sheet. Full, left, right. Let's save that. There we go. And another cool thing we could do, it kind of looks good. It's not great. Now go fast. Yeah, kind of that. So if we go to my animated sprite, what would be really cool is we could say when we're landing, it goes down to this speed, but then when we take off, we can correlate a maximum speed that it uses and like go up to like 6x. How cool would that be? Like as we take off, we scale this speed scale up. It seems like you can add the same frame. Yeah, so if you need to reorder it or just add frames to an existing one, yeah. It looks good, doesn't it? Well, that's all thanks to references, right? If you're gonna do art, find a good reference and just pick it apart until yours looks as good as you want it to. Let's play a little bit with this animation set to 6x. All right there. So I'm putting that to 6. I'm saving it again, and then I hit play. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. We can make the chopper tilt and stuff. Who would have thought? Like, animating chopper blades would be so easy. If I had to do that from scratch, I would be nowhere near. What LLM? It's the large brain model right up here, Courage to Grow. That's the one I'm using. The model of trial and error. Welcome in, how you doing? Yeah, literally just a few pixels. So his brain. Yeah, we're not AI coding, we're teaching people to code from scratch. Find the animation speed to change when pressing lift or hands off. Yeah, I think we'll figure out something, Doc. I think like if you take your hands off the control, so should we slowly sync? I really don't know what feels good yet. That might be like a whole episode of its own, is like fine-tuning the helicopter, making it feel good. But first things first, we just wanted some animations. I don't want to go too crazy with this now. It's easy to get down a rabbit hole and get off topic, but we talked about animations, which we did a pretty good job of so far. We want to get some like basic weaponry in. Maybe just a simple gun that shoots a bullet. Maybe some kind of dual stick, like an aimer, and then pull the trigger. I think that'd be fun. Lemao, I always go into Twitch chats and ask what some people get super. No, not offended. But you know, this is here. We're here for a tutorial. So tutorial. I'm just trying to teach people how to code and make games in Godot. And so LLM wouldn't help with that. You wouldn't learn anything. You got to know how the sausage is made. Scope creep, indeed. So let's do a little bullet thing, shall we? How do we want to do that? I'm thinking about what we'll need, and these are some really good topics. Should we make the bullet its own static body? Probably. Or, sorry, not static body, rigid body. I think so. And then we can apply a force to it. We'll spawn it by the helicopter and apply a force. So let's say first things first. Let's get a bullet sprite. Who can draw a bullet? That's gonna be mine right there. This sprite is our bullet. And you know what? I just had an idea. It's gonna be 2 frames. It's gonna be a 2-frame animation. So I'm gonna save that there. File, export. Yes, and reload it. Okay, so let's go and add a child node to the main scene. Can't scope creep, that's true. Bend angle, you can't scope creep if you never define scope. But we do have an amorphous scope, some idea of something of a scope. I'm gonna add a rigid body 2D, much like our player. I'm gonna call it projectile. Okay, so I'm renaming it to projectile. And then also like our player, it needs a collision shape. I'm gonna add a circle, collision shape 2D as the child. And then on that, I'm gonna add, you click on that, right? I'm remembering. You click on the shape property over here, a little drop down, and we're gonna make a little circle shape 2D. And then it's right down here, so I'm gonna grab the mover tool and bring it into view. Oh, it's not there? Where did it go? Oh, it's up here. All right, let's bring it down by the helicopter so we can see it. All right, this is what we got so far. First of all, the collision shape is not centered. So we're gonna go back, hit transform, position, recenter it on there. So you got your projectile with the collision shape and the position is 0. The projectile can be wherever it wants, but the collision shape, right there is a 0. Serious question posed as a troll. While circle when square game? It's kind of a good question, and I think, in my mind, because A, it won't matter, and 2, because I think a circle collider is a little bit more efficient than a square. So if it doesn't matter, I think you would probably be better off with a circle, and I'll show you why. Let's get a little diagram up. 300 by 300. Okay. So think about square colliders first, right? So here's a square collider. And then here's a square collider. Right? So here you have to say, if this edge is y value, if this edge's y value is less than this edge's y value, and this edge's y value is greater than this edge's y value, then we might have some kind of overlap going on here, right? But we don't know yet because there's also an x-plane, an x-axis, I should say. So if we have this value here, if this value's x value is greater than this x value here and less than this x value here, then we actually do have some kind of collision, right? So every frame, every collider, it's saying, does this one collide with that one? Does that one collide with this one? Does this one collide with that one? And so you have to check every edge of every shape and see if they are colliding, right? They are confusing. I've never actually written them from scratch other than a very simple like square colliders, and that's kind of the math you do. Yep, so not that we're doing any of this math, Doc, but now if you think about circles, say you have circle colliders, that's just a point and a radius, right? So we have, let's say we've got a point here and a point here, and the collider is a radius of x. All we have to do is a distance calculation, right? So if this distance between these points is greater than the distance minus the radius, then they're colliding, right? The only difference there is the distance is involves a square root, right? And it's x squared x1 squared minus x2 squared. No, sorry, hold on. It's x1 minus x2 squared, I think. Yeah, more like this. Plus y1 minus y2 squared, and then it's the square root of that. So the only difference there that maybe makes squares a little better is the lack of the square root needed for distance calculations. I'm not sure how the engine handles it. I could be wrong here. Let's Google. Godot, is circle collider cheaper than square collider? Which are less expensive collision shapes? Spheres and circles would probably be the best performance-wise. Every outer point is a fixed radius from the center, makes it super easy to calculate. Found a link someone ran 10 years ago. Sphere is the best. Cube is the worst. I know it's in Unity, but the concept is the same. Okay, so there's a little bit of research on it. And you know, it's kind of up to like processors and how they do math, right? And how efficient all those line checks I showed you on the square versus the square root distance calculation between the two circles. However, in our case, we have squares and circles, but if you're gonna have a million bullets on the screen, you want them to be very efficient, right? So I'm gonna make the bullets circle for that reason. So if you're using a circle collided on a square, would you always overcompensate the size of the colliding box to account for the corners? Because if you make the collider circle fit within the square, hold on, we're using a circle collided on a square asset. Would you always overcompensate the size of the colliding box to account for the corners? Because if you make the collider circle fit Within the square. Yeah, I mean, and that would be kind of how up to how your game and what kind of game, you know, the need for the game, right? So if, say, here's our helicopter with a square collider, right? But if it had a circle, oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to move this out of the way. I wanted to move this out. Okay. I wanted to move this out of the way. And I was just going to borrow this one. It's kind of up to the mechanics of your game, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? So you kind of want to encompass as much as possible. Like, so if you have some overlap down here, then your character will hover off the ground. Yeah, if you want to share a diagram, but I think I pretty much know what you mean. So it's kind of up to like the shape of your character and what you need it to do. Like this wouldn't be nice. It covers front to back, but you've got this whole hitbox up here that you could get shot in and not know why you got shot, right? You could also use multiple colliders. It's really just up to, like, we could have a hitbox for the rear rotor, and then when that gets hit, maybe we go out of control for a little bit. The options are endless, and it's so much fun to think about. But we're gonna reset and move on, I think, unless you send me a diagram to look at. But I'm hoping I pretty much covered your question with that. Oops. What am I moving now? Animated sprite. That needs to be zeros. There we go. Oh no. Keep grabbing the wrong thing. I'm just gonna Control Z till we get back to where we were. There we go. Because that was nice. Alright, save that. Back to here. Back to my projectile. I answered it? Okay, good. So we're back to the projectile. And we're gonna have, we've got helicopter frames. Let's go, let's just call this bullet. Bullet frames. Oops, I made a directory. Sorry. You want to right click, add a new resource again. Call it, right frames again. We're going to call it bullet frames. Save it. Yeah, bullet frames here. And then I'm going to click that same button. And then choose our sprite sheet. And I'm going to pick these two. One with the bullet showing and one with it not. And you might be able to guess what I'm doing here. I'm going to add those two frames. Basically, we're going to have the bullet blink as it moves, right? So I'm going to add to our projectile again. Add a child node. Animated sprite. There we go. And then we're bringing our bullet frames into there. Very nice. And if we hit play here, it blinks. Perfect. Kind of reminds me of the quad laser. We should put a quad laser on our helicopter. Very cool, I think. So here we go. We've got the collision, which is way too big, so let's scale that down. Actually, first we're going to move that animated sprite. Because you see we're on like a pixel, so we need to move a sub-pixel over, right? So basically minus 0.5 and minus 0.5. Take your animated sprite. Oops. Is it plus 0.5? Yes. Okay, so take your animated sprite of the bullet and change it, the position. Or should I change the offset? There was something, this is kind of new, this offset I think is kind of new in Godot. Something about, should we do that? Should we use the offset instead? Minus 0.5 and 0.5? So that way our animated sprite is right in the middle of our projectile. So you see the little crosshair there is directly in the middle, and then if we click on the animated sprite, it's because we set the offset to -0.5 and 0.5. Now we're going to take our collision shape and bring it way down to fit. Oops. Disappeared. Don't go that far down. Where did it go? Where did it go? Can I get some of it back? I sent it into the void. The grind is real, Flannelbeard. I think we just overlap a lot. Because you stream in the morning, I stream Wednesday evenings, I stream in the morning as well. But welcome in. We're doing a tutorial series. And I just sent my collision shape into the void. I made its radius so small that it disappeared. And now I don't know how to bring it back. I think I might just delete it and re-add one. Oh, you know what? It was in the shape. That's why. Collision shape 2D in this shape here. I was looking at the collision shape. I needed to be looking at the shape. Here we go. Let's bring this back down. There's the projectile, the animation. How did my sprite get offset again? Did I accidentally move it? Oh yeah, its position is 1 somehow. There we go. That's right, I moved it. Now let's bring this down. Ooh, I don't... Man, can we only go so small with this? Maybe it snaps to certain... There we go. Radius is 1 pixel. Can I make it a half a pixel? You can. Nice. Alright, so if you click on the circle shape itself, you get this little drop down of a couple more properties. So our circle radius is half a pixel because we're just working with 1 pixel here. I'm going to save that now. Updating your Olgi, right on. Did you see the color scheme? If you need, you type !colors, it brings up this nice color map if you need a little guide. Yeah, they're all custom named. That's completely my bad. It's from my own palette. All right, so we've got this. So helpful. Good. We've got this bullet. If we hit play, I think it just falls to the ground. Let's hit play and see it. Yep, there it is. Bullet just fell to the ground. We've got this single little line there. What's that from? It disappeared when I started moving. Well, we got this little bullet on the ground. We can't push it. We can drive over it. It's rotating. I like it. It might be hard to see, but we're actually kind of playing soccer with it. But we don't want to do that. We want to shoot it. Okay. So I'm going to leave that there. I made it. That's right. I'm going to leave that there for now. We're going to use it later. Oh wait, it's not blinking. That's right. We'll do that when we start. Oh, are we going to script it? I guess we can. Do we want to put a script on this little bullet? I guess we can. Let's do it. All right, so let's go add, oops, not add child node. Right click on it and do add script. We're gonna call it projectile.cs because that's the name of the node. Yeah, it's not playing it yet. Right, you're right, down at the den. Kareem Abdul, welcome. So I'm gonna hit create there. Brings up public partial class projectile that inherits from rigid body, much like our player. Right? Nice. And then we're gonna copy this animated sprite stuff. So I'm gonna take that animated sprite 2D. I'm gonna bring that over. Then I'm gonna copy the whole ready method as well. Inherit this rigid body +2 face. And it's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna find an animated sprite 2D and it's gonna play it. So same as in player.cs, we're doing it over here. So now when we hit play, it should blink in game, right? Yeah, so it's got this weird artifact at the top of it. But like once we start moving, it disappears. So I'm not going to worry about it yet. But that's good. Alright, so we want to shoot this thing. So this is where we start to get into it. So we've got... we add a gun to the player? I think we should. So when we add the player, let's go right click on the player. Here's my idea. It's nap time. Not yet. I'm actually good. It's still early. We're gonna add child node. And then let's just add, how do I want to do this? I think I want like a little controllable thing that we can easily see. I think that's what I'll do. Let's add a node 2D. It's just a plain old node, and we're going to call it gun. Okay, so right click on your player, add child node called node 2D. And then it'll be a new child to your player. Double click it, rename it gun. Then we're going to right click on that. Add child, sorry, not add child node. Add a script. We're attaching a script. It's going to be called gun.cs. Sure, why not? Hit create. And now what I want there is I want this to be, I want a little aimer that kind of circles our helicopter. And then when you push the button, it fires in that direction. So what we'll do, should we draw on our sprite sheet, draw a little, an aimer for it? A little crosshair? Rockabilly, good evening. We're doing tutorials. There we go. I'm gonna draw a little crosshair. This might be too big. I don't want it like huge. Let's just do it like this. Like that and like that. I'm gonna save that. Does that look okay? Like a little target. And then I'm gonna export that file. Export. Okay, yep. Now we have that over here. And I'm gonna right click on this gun and I'm gonna change the type. Hefty, good evening. Welcome in. Change type to sprite. Hey, good luck didn't work. Oh, there it is. It was delayed. Sprite 2D. We changed it to a Sprite 2D. Alright, sorry about the change over there, but right click on gun, change type to a Sprite 2D, because we're going to put a little sprite on it. if we go, let's see, quick load sprite sheet. That's the entire sprite sheet. Oh, it's still kind of big, huh? Compared to the... What I really want, though, is just... Let's see. Frames. Let's see. H frames, V frames, frame coordinates. We're at 0, 1, 2, 3. Can we just clip this down? Let's see, frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm a little bit experimenting right now. Oh, didn't want that. Eight by 8, frame 0, frame coordinates 0, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted. All right, so what we did here, let me wind that back. It's gonna drink that Sprite. Sorry, Doc. It wasn't flat and warm enough for you. You wouldn't have liked it. It was fresh, cold Sprite. So what we have here now is we've got this little like aimer that I envision like circling around. It's a little bit big, I think. Maybe we take this extra circle off of it. Fair. So what I did here, we changed it to sprite sheet, right? And then we set the texture. You click the drop down, then do quick load. You can select your sprite sheet again. And then it loads the full image in it. But what we're doing is we're changing these values. So remember we've got, it's 8 wide by 8 tall. So we're telling it how big each frame of this sprite sheet is. It's an 8 by 8. And then I set the coordinates to 0, so it's in the first column, 3, third row. So if we look here on the coordinates, it's telling it to only display the frame in 0, 3. So it's just displaying this. And I'm gonna go ahead and erase that right now. Save that and export, because I just want it to be like a little crosshair, a little indicator. Export it again. Yep. There we go. That's, I think, a little simpler, a little nicer looking for our helicopter. Save that scene. And so what it'll do is, like, as we move our right stick around, it's gonna like point to where we're aiming from the helicopter. Sound good? And then also it's a little bit off center because we're working in just single pixel styles. We're gonna change that to -0.5 the offset again, and 0.5, or oops, -0.5, -0.5, -0.5 for the offset. So now you can see like the sprite's actually in the very center of this object. You can see the crosshairs are in the center of the crosshairs. Perfect. All right, the sheets coordinate. Yeah, so one more time with the sheets coordinate. So we've got our sprite sheet, our sprite 2D. So you're right clicking, you're adding a child node from scratch. You're adding a sprite 2D, right? I'll just do a whole new one even. And then you can name it something like gun. I'm calling it gun 2 because I already have a gun. And then this sprite 2D, it wants a texture. And we're saying, well, we've got a texture. We're gonna quick load our whole sprite sheet. And you can see when you select that, our entire sprite sheet shows up. It's this, it's everything we drew on a sheet the size of our sheet, right? But what I want to do to clip it down to just the sprite we're using, we go animation. How wide is it? It's 8 frames wide by 8 frames tall. So we say H frames, horizontal frames is 8, V frames 8 also. So now it trimmed it down to one of the very first sprite, which is just our helicopter. And then you can change that by pressing up and down on the frames, and it'll like flip through every frame you got. Or you can give it the coordinates here. So we know it's looking at our sprite sheet, we want this crosshair. It's at 0, column 0. So x equals 0, and third row y equals 3. So now it should only be displaying the crosshair from the 0, 3 coordinate frame. So it's just our crosshair here. That makes sense? And then the only thing you want to do after that is change the offset to minus 0.5 comma minus 0.5, so your crosshairs are in the middle of the crosshair, right? And all that's just a sprite 2D that's a child of the player, right? So you'll end up with something like this. Does that make sense down to the den? Are we missing anything? And next we're gonna script it. We're gonna make it follow the cursor. I think that'll be fun. Good, cool. So one thing I think we want before we get into this, let's go look at our inputs again. Project settings, input map. I don't know if we have anything for the right joypad stick. So like right now we've got U left, U right, joypad button, joypad axis 0, left stick left, left stick right. I don't think we have anything for right stick. Seems like no. So we might as well add it just to stick with Godot. I'm tempted to like kind of start doing it from scratch, but let's stick with Godot here. Add new action. We're gonna say right. We'll say like, let's see, weapon. We'll do this. We'll call it weapon underscore aim underscore right. Then you click add, and we should, if we filter by name, weapon aim right. Then we're gonna click this add event. We're gonna say, there we go, joypad axis 2. So if I push right on my joypad, it kind of detects as you do it. So as I do this, it's detecting. I want right, joypad right. And then say okay. And then we're gonna add another one, weapon aim left, add another one, right stick left, okay. And then weapon aim up, add another one, right stick up, yep. And then weapon aim down, add another one, down. Let's see, joystick one down, one up, one left, one right. Cool. So we're doing, do we want to keep keyboard mouse in mind as well? We can do add. Also, I'll use the arrow keys for these, right? So just to the right, add left. I'm using left arrow key, weapon aim up, okay. I've never really done game dev with a controller, so I'm excited to do controller, but we'll keep keyboard and mouse in mind as well. So now I just mapped everything to both keys, right? And then I think that might have messed up like UI left. Yeah, so if we go UI underscore, we search for those are already mapped. UI left is left. We don't want that because it's going to control the helicopter and the aiming of the gun. Man, this game's it would be hard to play. What I have in mind is going to be hard to play on keyboard and mouse. But we'll still support it. We want to go UI left. I'm going to delete the left. I'm going to go right, delete the right, up, delete the up, and down, delete the down. All right, close that. Now let's go to our gun script. Right, so you'll notice something when we right click attach script on that one. It's gonna open gun. It's inheriting from a node 2D, which is technically right. It's attached to a sprite 2D, so this is legal too, but it's a sprite 2D is also a node 2D, so what we have here doesn't really matter in this case. Currently, I don't see us trying to access the sprite 2D properties, but now I'm kind of thinking it could be cool in the future if like we change the sprite depending on what gun we have selected. So we'll just do it. Right now we'll make sure this says sprite 2D. So we've got gun inheriting from sprite 2D. Okay. So much like our player process, so this is in physics process, we want to override the process for our gun as well. I'm out of water. So let's go public override void underscore process. And we're going to start reading our new inputs here. So if you go over to your player and just copy, let's copy this whole thing right here. So from velocity down to velocity equals force. Let's paste it into here, process. And instead of these strings, we'll say weapon, aim, left. And we'll paste those into, instead of left, we say right. Instead of left, we say up. Instead of left, we say down. Perfect. Actually, is there a way to get the value? Maybe that would be cool. Let's not do that yet. We'll keep it simple at first, and then we can change things like that later. So this isn't really a velocity. This is a direction. So I'm gonna go double click on velocity here and hit F2 to rename it. I think you can also right click, rename symbol, and say direction instead. All right, so what we have here is a direction in which we're aiming, and it's going to work the same way as our velocity did for the player. So we're going to say it starts out at 0, 0. If the left button is pressed, we're going to add a left vector to it. If the right button is pressed, we're adding a right vector to it, up and down, etc., etc. So it'll support two directions at once, right? And here we're not adding a force to it, but what I do want is to normalize it, right? So we always want it to be a magnitude of 1, like we talked about with player. We normalize this so up and left is not faster than just left or just up. And left is that way. Same with the direction. We don't want like a longer aim up and to the left versus up or left. So we normalize it to give it a magnitude, a length of 1, right? And so then we're going to take this character's position, this gun sprite's position, and we're going to set it to whatever its parent is. Should we cache the parent? I wonder. I feel like that's good practice, and let's start with some good practices. Let's start up at the top here and say private node2d parent. Then we say public override void ready, just like we have in player. We're going to say parent equals think it's just get parent, right? Oh. Cannot convert non-del. Oh, get parent of type node 2. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we tell it get the parent, and when you're calling a method, like whenever it's got parentheses here, that means you're calling a method, which means you don't really know what it's doing behind the scenes. Most of the time, you know, especially in something like this, it's just saying, okay, what's my parent? But you don't really know. So in a case where you call a method, you don't want to call that every frame like we do here in process. We're saying, if we can help it, like here we do for normalized. But we don't want to constantly call get parent, because you don't know what it does behind the scenes, and the parent's not going to change, right? It's always going to be our player. We're saying parent equals get parent of type node2d, and we're going to save it as a node2d parent here, because really all we need is the position from it. And actually, now that I'm thinking about that, we can do that a little bit simpler. Yep, I'm sorry. Hold on, recalculating. I kind of like it, and I'll tell you why. So we're gonna keep it, and I'll tell you why. So what we're gonna do for this gun is when we control it, you know, where it's aiming, we're gonna set the position. Position equals parent. No, yeah, we don't need it. I'm sorry. Just delete it. Parent's going bye-bye. We're orphans now. Delete. Back to this. We're just gonna say position equals whatever our direction was. Like that. So we're setting the local position. This is the local position according to the parent, right? Which is why we could get rid of parent. There's also global position, which is like its position in space in the whole game. But if you just say position, that's its position in relation to its parent, right? And so what we're saying is, like, say we were pushing up and to the right, we're going to have a direction of 1, 1. Then we normalize it, so it's a length of 1. Then we just set its position to whatever that direction is. So let's see if that works. Let's try it out. Go back to our game, hit play. Let's go. Okay, it's moving. All right. It doesn't look at all what I want it to look like. I didn't expect this. But you see, it's kind of doing something, right? It's kind of cool. Why is it in that position? I'm not sure. Let's see. Is the position set? Transform. Yeah, the position is set. And that's right. Okay, it's there because we have... This is the actual center of the player, isn't it? It is. I don't really like that. I didn't expect that. I think we should move some things around. I'm sorry. Here's the actual center of the player. Here's our collision shape. We need to move this sprite. And I think part of the problem is because I put the helicopter sprite on the ground. So the center is here. And we can offset it. That's what offset's for. But do we always want to be messing with offset? Kind of, I guess, because... Hold on, I'm thinking forward. Like, say we want to rotate and tilt the helicopter. We don't want the pivot point to be here, right? It kind of should pivot around its center of gravity. Well, maybe what we do, let's make some adjustments. I'm going to click on the animated sprite. Real meal, welcome in. to get a chopper. We're doing a tutorial on how to make a game, so you can get a chopper if you can get a chopper if you want to play the game, or you can make your own, because this is a tutorial. So this is our second episode. I'm uploading them to YouTube, and there we go. If I put the pivot right at the thing here, get to the chopper. We gotta add some sound clips for this, and that should be one of them. I'm putting the pivot right here, because I think when it rotates, let's do a little test. When we were to take the animated sprite, and if we rotated it, it should, yeah. Look at that. If it tilted around that axis, that'd be sweet. Right? And you know what I think I want to do because of this? You saw how our collider didn't change, right? I think what we should do... Maybe we rotate the whole player. It's okay. I think we're good like this. All I did there was just change the offset. To make the rotor blades are at the center of the player object. Let's look at it here. If we were to rotate the whole player, kind of works the same way. That's pretty good. Do a loop-de-loop. Do a barrel roll. There we go. So I'm gonna leave that way. It's a little hot. All good, man. No problem. Glad to have you. Glad you're here. If you're where did I add that pivot? So all I did, so here's the player object, right? So we've got this crosshair is the origin of the player object. All I did was take the animated sprite and then change the offset to put it at right at the rotor there. I'm gonna say minus 3.5 and minus 6.5 to get it exact, right? And so now we've got that pivot. So if I were to rotate this player, like say we want to do this when you're going forward, or that when you're going backward, it rotates like right. That's where I think helicopters rotate, right? They don't rotate, you know, around the center of gravity or whatever. I think it's that point right there. I saw marbles in my hand for a minute. Are you rolling marbles? I'm teaching it. You're allowed to joke around. That's what I said. That's why I've got tutorial, exclamation point tutorial. Chat as you would. I know I've set up a certain expectation of chat here and goofing around and having fun and getting distracted, but I'm trying to stay on topic, so I'm going to prioritize game dev questions. But yeah, have fun. Go to the code for the gun for sure. Yeah, so we've got that set up, and then let's look at the code for the gun. Review that, right? Sorry about that whole thing I did with the parent and removing the parent. It's just going to use its own local position plus whatever direction we come up with in this aiming code, right? So we basically lifted this aiming code. It works the exact same way as the player's velocity over here, right? So I copied that, brought it over here, and renamed velocity to direction. Taking the bit right on. Yeah, you just need to, so like we set up all of our directions, right? Weapon aim left, weapon aim right. We did that in project settings, so now these just have to match those, right? We're building a vector based on those that we put together in the controller map. And so with that, one more thing. Let's add at the top here another export. Export public float. We'll call it distance equals maybe 10 for starters. That might be a bit much. But then when we go back to the game, oh wait, I'm sorry. And then direction.normalized times distance. There we go. That's going to be how far the aimer can leave the size of the radius around the chopper, right? And so if we play that, let's try it out. That's a little bit better there, right? And I don't like that it's circling around that center point, but we're going to take care of that in a second. How's that look? Pretty cool. More about local positions. You know, local positions are not for everybody. You know, some people prefer global positions, but it's really just what you and your partner prefer most. You know, your game dev partner. It's something to talk about. Keep an open field of communication. Maybe reference some diagrams, and you and your game dev partner can decide which local position or global position is best for you, and whatever works best with the game. So here we go. We've got that's moving around. It's looking better, but what I want to add, one more thing, add to the player, right? Click on the player, add child node, node 2D, and this is just going to be a position again. I'm going to call it gun mount, right? And because guns don't shoot from the center of the helicopter, right? They'll shoot from like the nose, right? That's what's going to look best. So I'm going to click on move mode and then kind of bring maybe right there, right? I'm bringing my gun mount to right here on the helicopter. And then I'm going to take the gun object and drop it on gun mount, so it becomes a child of gun mount. And so instead of rotating around this center position, I'm going to make the gun a child of gun mount, which stays right here. And so if we play that now, you'll see, go look at diagrams right on. There we go. So if we're not doing anything, it just kind of sits there. I don't really like that it's messing up our pixel art a little bit. But you can see, maybe we want to keep it at like right in front of us if we're not touching anything. That might be good, right? Yeah, let's try that next. So I'll pause that, and we're gonna make the default direction. This gets a little bit complicated. We want it to be 0 left. So if we're pushing left, because we don't want it to recenter. So if we're always having it just ahead, if nothing is pressed, let's do this. If direction, if direction dot, I believe length, yes. Is that what we want? Or no. Maybe direction dot length equals 0. That means if we didn't press anything. No, that's not right. Dot length squared lerp limit length. No, maybe length, like that. If direction dot length is 0, we're gonna say direction equals v2 dot right. So that's like its resting position, right? So if we didn't press any buttons here, and the length is just 0, meaning our hand's off the trigger, then it's gonna sit right in front of us. It's kind of like a final override, so we get this effect. I'll show you. Playing Eminem, nice Doc. Yeah, you gotta watch out for that trap. So now you see like our aimer is right in front of us, so that'll be like our default aiming position. And then if we rotate around, looks pretty good, huh? Now I want to get to shooting, because this looks cool. Alright, let's try that. How's it going down to the den? And anyone else following along? And you at home, watching on YouTube. So what we want to do next, we want it to shoot, right? So that bullet that we made is gonna come in handy. Logged in, right on. Chopper is bigger, so I have to just, that makes sense. Yeah, so some things you want to look at is, and that's kind of why we have this, that's why these are adjustable, right? Is this distance field? So maybe you make it, maybe yours is 20 or 40 or something, because your chopper is bigger than mine. Remember, it's not about the size of the chopper, it's the way it flies. Right, Mule? And so there we go, direction, that looks good. I think one more thing we want to add is the fire button, right? So let's go back to project settings, input map, and just add a new action called fire. Let's filter for fire. There we go, add, and I want to use this the clicky button because I like that, and it's right shoulder, Sony R1, Xbox right bumper or right button or whatever it's called. That's what I'm going to use because it feels real good in Enter the Gungeon. Feel free to choose whatever fire button you want. I'm just adding a new input map fire with that right bumper. Okay, close that. Now we'll go back to our gun and we'll say in the process, let's say how do we want to do this, because we don't want everything to be super long. Let's show you how to oh wait, gun position, because we're setting the position, so that's kind of nice. We can use the position from the, yeah. Let's do this. At the very end of process, let's go, actually, do we have, I'm just checking something, public, override, void, input. We have input events. Wonder if that'll work. Let's try this. Let's go public override void input underscore input event. Here's the event, right? We go if input dot is action pressed, is action just pressed, let's go is action pressed, and then we'll say fire like that. We'll just put in a little debugger, gd.print fired, like that. And right here, I'm just testing to see if this input event processes these input actions. I'm not sure if that catches those or if it's more for like mouse interactions with the screen. It is. Let's go. Yep, it goes on YouTube as well. Yeah, Real Meal. I just take this whole VOD and then I upload it to YouTube. Maybe chop off the beginning and the end so it's a little cleaner. Yeah, so we've got our helicopter. If we right click, you see the debug statements down here saying it fired. So that's what we'll do. Just to like keep things a little more organized. We're putting in the input override. This method handles events. So like if you're moving your mouse or if you're clicking on stuff, this This method knows about it. Called when there's an input event. The input event propagates up through the node tree until a node consumes it. It is only called if input processing is enabled, which is done automatically if the method is overridden. Set input is handled can be called for gameplay input. Oh, here we go. For gameplay input, unhandled input and unhandled key input are usually a better fit as they allow the GUI to intercept the events first. So that's maybe like if you click on a button. I see. This is kind of like the backup. I see. That's like if you wanted to control your UI with your controller, not fire the button. I don't think we're worried about that in this. Method is only called if the node is present in the scene. If it's not an orphan. Okay. Alright. So here we are. We are checking if that's fired. Do we want to do sound effects? I think we want to do sound effects. Open your browser. Go to bfxr.net. I hope this isn't too loud. Let's turn it down a little to start. And click on, this is, makes little sound effects. Click on some things until you like. You like what you hear, and you want that as a as your gun sound effect. I think I want more like an explosion sound. Yeah. Like that one's cool. But it's a little too... Maybe that, but not so... Let's see, you can adjust it. Compression. Frequency. Frequency slide, delta slide. I don't know what any of these mean. Maybe. Decay time, real fast. Oh. I don't know. I'm going boom one. Or I guess it depends on what kind of Oh, hit sounds pretty good. Hit, hurt sound. These, I like these. Okay. I like that one. So they, every time you click it, it randomly generates it, Dawn of the Dan, so you're hearing something different from me. If I click explosions, it just creates one and calls it, you know, mine's on boom 8 because I've hit it so many times. Boom 8 sounds pretty good. I like that. I like boom 8 for me. So then you can go and just say export wave. I'm gonna put it right into my project folder. Oh, D, Godot, projects, chopper lift. Boom 8.wave. Sounds good. So what's in there? Cool. So to make that work, oops, that's the Olgies. To make that work, on the gun, you want to right click, add child node. Audio stream player 2D. I'm clicking on that. It's going on the gun. I'm clicking on When you click on that, there's a stream, and then you got to give it a stream. And so click on the empty, add a audio stream wave, I believe. And then at the bottom, audio, it's not that. I'm a little bit fuzzy. Load. Where do I put the sound that I want to play? What if I go quick load? Boom. Oh, okay, my bad. My bad. So click on audio stream player once you've added it. Click on the drop down and then quick load. That'll show your wave files. It'll find them. I'm clicking on Boom 8 there. And there, now it's in. Perfect. And cool, sounds good. And I'm gonna save that. Go back to the gun code now. And go to the top, and much like when we were finding this animated sprite, we want to do that for audio player. We're gonna go, let's do a private audio stream player 2D. Audio stream player 2D. And then we'll just call it audio. That's a mouthful. So public override void ready. And what we have to do is we got to find it, remember. So there's the audio. We can say audio. When this gun loads up, it's going to call the ready method. We're going to say audio equals get node of type audio stream player 2D. And then it's going to look at the path audio stream player 2D. Like that. And so then we've got that. And then now when we go down here, we've got this in our input. After we fire, we just want to say audio dot play. Just like that. Now if we go back to our game and hit play. Super rapid fire. Because it picks it up every frame. And we can fix that, but it's not the end of the world right now. Perfect. All right. Cool, so that's working. And what we want to do next is make an actual bullet fire, right? But we don't know what is a bullet yet, right? We made one. We need to use it. So in here we've got our projectile. It's this guy sitting over here. Top of gun code quickly? Sure, yeah, let's look at that again. Much like in our player when we were finding the animated sprite, we gotta do the same thing. It's a private audio stream player we called audio. And we said audio is get node of type audio stream player 2D with the name audio stream player 2D. Pretty simple. Does that make sense? And down here we're just saying audio.play. So where were we here? If you're good with that, you can go back and look at our projectile that we made. It's just chilling and waiting. We right click on the projectile. We want to go to save branch as scene. Okay, so what it's doing is the branch of the scene that you click on, it's going to bring it into its own scene. Right now we're in main. This is our main scene. We need a projectile to be its own thing, right? I'm going to click on it and say Save branches scene. We'll just call it projectile.tscn. We got main and projectile. Hit save there, and then we got it down in our resources. Saving that. And then we can delete it out of our main scene. So I'm just going to click on it. Delete. Then save our main scene. Now when we hit play, we won't have that bullet floating there. Okay. And so now we need to know, like, what is that bullet? Where is that bullet? In Godot, scenes are nodes and nodes are scenes. Working really well. Great. Glad to hear it. If I double click on that projectile.scene, the crosshair is weird. Okay, what's acting funny about it? Maybe we can figure it out. We see, if I double click on that scene, it loads up a new scene with projectile. And this is just what we had. It's an animated sprite with the collision object on it. Very simple. One little pixel. But it's got a couple of parts that we need. It's just really close. Do you have the, does your gun code have 800 and it's still, oh, are you multiplying direction normalized by distance? If it's not changing much, it might be that. If it's not changing at all, I would say. So what this does is it takes your direction, makes it a length of 1, and then multiplies it by whatever our distance here is. I would also say maybe if you change it in the editor, try changing it here in the code, because your editor might be overriding the code. So I would check both places. I don't know if you have it set to 800 here, or if you're in the editor on the gun, you'll see it here as well. But if this, it still says 10, but you've changed it to 800 in the code, then it'll still just use 10. It's perfect now. Good. Cool. Multiplication, nice. Yeah. So yeah, I won't do anything if you don't multiply it in there. Nice. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm wondering if we should get into pooling yet, or if we just go straight into firing away bullets. Let's do the funny way first, and then we'll make it better later. How long have we been going here? Is this? I want to keep these to like, oh, we're at 2 hours. We'll probably wrap up after this. I want to keep them like somewhat digestible for YouTube too. And also, we gotta watch House of the Dragon tonight. Little factorial. I can do that. I can be talked into that. As a treat. Why not us? I didn't have dessert. Why not now? Alright, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna say, this is the laggy, inefficient, but kind of funny way. So we're gonna do the funny thing first. All right, say private, rigid body 2D, projectile or bullet or whatever we want to call it. Right? We need another variable. Oops. And after we find our audio player and save it to this variable, we're gonna load up our projectile. Projectile equals resource loader, resource loader dot load an object of type, I think it's called packed scene. Alright, so we need a packed scene and it wants a path. Where do we find it? It's just in our root folder, so no folders, directory necessary. Projectile.tscn, like that. As, no, don't say as. Go to the beginning of it and type rigid body 2D. Did I do this right? Oh, dot instantiate. Okay, so it's kind of a doozy. We're doing a few things all at once here. Slideshow SNL skit. I'll do that after this, Platinum Fox. I should pause redeems, I think, during the tutorial. But welcome in. Good evening. So here's what we're doing here. This is a lot of lines kind of happening at once. Maybe I'll break it down, right? So we can say var scene equals this part. The first thing we do, we're saying resource loader.load. This tells Godot to load up a packed scene called projectile.scene, right? And then we're saving that scene here. And then we need an instance of it. So we say var instance equals scene.instantiate. Okay, so then we get an instance of that scene. And then we are, actually, you know what? That's kind of all we're going to do there. We can say, we're gonna do it the funny way. Triggers a node's notification. Yeah, because we're gonna do it the funny way. We're gonna keep that scene right there. So let's go all this change this projectile to a packed scene, and we'll call it projectile scene, like that. And so what it's doing is it's finding this projectile scene right here, just our single bullet as a scene, and it loads it up into memory, and it's like, okay, I'm ready with that scene whenever you need it. Called projectile scene. Let's get rid of this. Sorry, I'm messing things up here for you. So we're saying projectile scene is act scene projectile.scene, just like that, right? So we're just saving that scene for use later. Then if we go down, it is Platinum Fox. It's in the title, but that's okay. Now if we go down to our firing, we can say var projectile equals projectile scene dot instantiate. If you notice, this is just a node. We want to cast it as a rigid body 2D, right? So this parentheses rigid body 2D says whatever you get from this instantiate, turn it into a rigid body 2D if you can. So if you do the hard cast here with the parentheses and it can't do it, it'll throw an exception, it'll crash your game. But we are really expecting this to be a rigid body 2D, so we want it to crash. We don't want any other scenario except for to end the game, so we know for sure we screwed something up. So now that we have this, we instantiate it. We take the scene and say instantiate. Take that thing in memory and put it in the game, right? And then it gives us, we cast it as a rigid body 2D that we're going to call projectile down here, right? And then we're going to say projectile dot add, what was it? Dot apply impulse. We needed the one that's like a one shot, right? Because we're just going to spawn the bullet and send it flying. Applies a position impulse to the body. An impulse is time dependent. Applying an impulse every frame would result in a frame rate dependent force. Okay, so yeah, we just want it to be the single apply impulse. And we need to give it a direction with a force applied to it. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll say projectile dot global position equals global position. Right, so it's going to set it to the position. We're setting its position to be the position of our gun, right? So whatever our aimer is going to be where it moves to, right? So it's spawning the bullet moving it to the position of our gun or the cursor, or, you know, our aimer. We could do it from the gun parent, so it like shoots through the cursor, but I don't know if it'll matter that much. We'll see how it looks. For now, we're just going to spawn it at the cursor for simplicity. Then we need a direction at which it's going to aim, right? So like, how do we figure that out? We're going to say var direction equals the position of the gun minus the position of the parent, get parent.position. Okay, and so I guess I'm taking it back. We want to say here parent dot sorry. We're recalculating this position and we already have it. So that's silly. We have it. Rewind a little bit. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the top and we're going to say private vector2 position. Or sorry, direction. That's also what happens when I go too long, right? We say private vector2 direction. We're declaring it up here, so every method within the class, in this gun class, can use it. Right here, we declare var direction here, but you can only use it within the process method. So if we delete this var, direction is now scoped to the whole class. All right, so every time we come through process, we're going to say, okay, direction is a new vector2. Then we apply all the stuff we want to do to it, right? And then we're setting that direction. You know what? I feel like I kind of want to move this out of here now. Kind of for that reason. Let's do that. I'm sorry. Delete direction there. Put it back down here, right? We're only declaring it in the process method, and then we're just going to bring this up after the position is set, because we have all the things we need right here, and I don't think we gain anything from putting it in this input override. Sorry, because what we need here is the direction again with some kind of force applied to it. Let's see how that works. Just cut into 15 skeletons and got wrecked. Sorry, Doc. Could have been my brother even. Let's try that out. Let's see. I know I just kind of screwed that up a whole bunch, but let's see what happens when we pull the trigger. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I forgot something else too. We're not putting the projectile into the scene. So what we want to do, one more thing here. Sorry. Let's go add child. Do we want to add it? We don't want it to be a child of the gun though. Say get tree dot root dot add child. So we're going to add it to the main scene, so it's not a child of the gun. We want it to have its own. Doesn't matter. I wonder if it would matter. Projectile. So we're actually putting it into the game now. You gotta call add child to bring it into the game. So here it's still like in memory, ready to go. It's pulling it. Projectile.scene pulls it off the hard drive, puts it into memory. And then when we call instantiate, that puts it into like the engine, I guess. Is that a way to describe it? And then we do add child, that puts it into the actual game so you can physically interact with it. I'm not sure if I have to do get tree root here, but like it's a difference of like if I just say add child like that, it becomes a child of the gun. But then I wonder if like if I turn the gun, will all the bullets move with it? I don't want that to happen. So what I want to do is just set it as a child of the root. Can I just do root.addChild? No, I cannot. So get tree gets like the scene tree that you're in, like this whole thing. And then dot root gets the very top one. It'll be like, it's called root when you're playing the game. And then it adds a child to that. Get going, a child of the gun. And then we apply the impulse after it's added. So only if someone could point to the memory. He's C-posting again. Let's see how this works. There we go. Yes. Holy cow. Oh yeah. Now look at what we did. Like I said, this is the funny way. I put some bullets on top of the helicopter. We're being held down by our own bullets. Maybe if we spawn some bullets underneath us, we can get off the ground again. There we go. North Papalog in 2 streams. Exactly. Look, I wonder how many we can handle here. We should put our FPS on the screen so we know. North meets Noida. Yeah, except we're gonna crash. Oh yeah, there we go. There go the frames. There go the frames. And like I said, this is the funny way. I wanted to start with the funny way. No cooldown on the gun. No object pooling for the bullets. But I wanted to like prove a point, right? I wanted to show you can kind of count how many frames per second by how many bullets per second we fire. Because as long as I hold down the button, that's 1 frame every time you hear the gun fire. And there's obviously not enough force being added to our bullets either. PowerPoint 2005. Oh, I think we're free. We're getting free of our bullets. There's some on top of our blades which are pulling us down. I also don't think we want bullets to be a victim of gravity, do we? So let's fix that. Alright. Like I said, the funny way. So projectile, we load up the projectile. Go to that scene, go to the root again. Here we got a rigid body. Now our projectile's in its own scene. So to edit it, we have to come here. I'm gonna bring the gravity scale to 0 because I don't want bullets to be weighed down by gravity. At least not yet. We'll figure that out later. Okay. And now another thing we have to do. We want to cache. And like I said, I don't want to call get tree every frame or every time we pull the trigger. Maybe we do. Let's test it with just add child and see if it makes a difference. Quick test. Where's the bullets? Where'd they go? Are they stuck on the... How many do we have? If we go to remote, then main, player, look at the gun, children. Yeah, look at them all. Are they not moving? Where are they? What's their position? They are moving. Force. Duty scene. Game scene. What's their position? Oh, they're way off the camera now. Aren't they? I don't know what happened to them. But they're like somewhat moving? I really don't know. I'm not sure what happened to them. But I think that's a sign that we need to make them a child of the root. So getTree.root was the right call for now. Ponpon, welcome. Cute helicopter, thank you. Getting a cast exception. Okay, so unable to cast projectile to type, rigid body. Okay. let's see. So I think what's happening, what that tells me is in your projectile, you've got your projectile.cs. That means your projectile is probably not a type rigid body 2D. So when you open your projectile script, does yours inherit from rigid body 2D, Dawn? Dawn of the Dan? Dan of the Dawn? We're working on MC in Godot? MC, what's MC? Minecraft, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a good exercise, Pompon. Teaches you a lot about like generating all those things on the fly, which is it's like a good learning experience. Colliders, meshes, so much annoying math. Yeah, I've done it's in my game. I know it. I've done it twice now. Once in Unity and once in Godot. But it's a really good exercise. I'd recommend that for anyone trying to get into a more intermediate game dev exercise. 21 days and it looks like you're getting sued by Minecraft. I should show the videos maybe after I'm done with the tutorial. Now it does. Okay, try it again, Dawn of the Dan. Now that you've got the right class type. So it's saying it was just trying to load a projectile and saying, hey, I can't turn this scene into a projectile because the scene is a rigid body, right? Helicopter goes burr. Nice. All right, very good. It's definitely going burr. And what was the one more thing I wanted to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to get a parent cached here. And a couple more things. Private node scene root. Private node 2D parent. Okay, so our gun wants to know two things. It wants to know the parent and the scene root. So I'm gonna like start smushing these together a little and say scene root equals get scene. I already forgot. No, sorry, get root. Nope. What's the thing? Get tree. That's what I want. Get tree. Dot root. And then parent equals get parent. Of type node 2D, like that. So we're caching the scene root with get tree dot root. We're caching the parent as get parent of type node 2D. So now we cached them both in these variables. And now down here we can say, instead of calling get tree dot root, we can just say scene root add child, just like that. We've got a direction now. So here's direction equals direction.normalize times distance. We want like a projectile force. So same deal up here. Let's export public float projectile force equals, I don't know, we'll start with 100. Maybe 400, like that. And what we want to do, I'm going to call these something different. So let's go, instead of like editing our direction here, we're just going to say the position equals direction.normalize times distance. Okay, so we can reuse our direction down here. And then here we'll say var force equals direction.normalized times projectile force. Projectile force. All right, so now we have two different, we're using the direction the same way. Oh, and again, that I did that so I didn't have to cache the parent. But I think what I wanted to do though is make it spawn at the parent's position. So instead of projectile.global position, I want to say parent.global position. So it's gonna not spawn at the cursor, it's gonna spawn at the tip of the helicopter and I think that'll be the last thing I do here. And also apply impulse to be force. There we go. There we go. I was saving. Are you gonna be live in the morning? Yeah, actually I will. I will stream tomorrow morning too, because I'm not leaving till like lunchtime, so there we go. Let's try this out. Oh, what the? Okay, I screwed something up because my cursor's moving. Hold on, and I keep showing the Olgies, breaking the fourth wall. What did I do? Did you see the cursor move? Stream until lunch. Well, I'm still working though. What did I just do that makes the cursor move? Gun. Parent is global position. Oh, I'm moving the parent. Oh, I'm so sorry. Projectile. Dot global position. See, I've been streaming too long. Projectile. Dot global position equals parent dot global position. There we go. I was moving the gun mount along. Yeah, pain indeed. There we go. It's doing stuff. It's something. They're like bouncing off the ground and everything. That's kind of cool. I think maybe making them blink makes it hard to see. We either need to not make them blink or make them blink really fast. Let's go back to our projectile animated sprite. Speed scale. Let's like make it 10x. So it's almost just like a blur. Looking good? Thank you. That's better. And it's still in like Noida mode. Like we're running into our bullets all over the place. They don't explode on impact. We're just pushing them around in the sky. I lost where I can't find the land anymore. We're under the ground somehow. Oh, it's fun to fly around. Oh, oh, oh. Forever to exist. Yeah, they're just floating off into the void now. But it's fun, it's getting somewhere. Can shoot bullets with other bullets. Bounce our helicopter off of them. Sorry, that's probably annoying to hear. I think it's as loud on your end as it is on mine. But I think next thing we'll do is put a delay limit on them. Dan, is it working for you down at the Den? Are your bullets coming from the right place? Good, good, good. Yeah, it is amazing. It's coming together nicely. And I think we had the same step. Nice. All right. I think it's about where we want to be for this tutorial. Maybe I'll do like 20 minutes of Factorio. Okay, tutorial mode over. All right. Go home, YouTubers. Twitch viewers stay. YouTubers, you're done. I accidentally made it. Yeah, that'll be the next YouTube video.
Enjoy.
Oh, Dan, thank you, man.
Yeah, that's for you.
No, not 2 hours, Doc.